Mayday, mayday, mayday. I gotta come up with a catchy little hook. Already got This Is Your Moron with a Conscience, aka Conscious Moron. Thank you guys for joining me. Welcome to the little video. Now, I hear a lot of people, MAGA folks, saying, well, Trump gave his money back to the government. He didn't take a salary. Um I understand not accepting this money to make some more money on the side. What would you rather do? But this is kind of a layer of that. Like, would you, let me ask you this, would you rather make, I think it's what, 450,000? How much does a president make a year? I think it's between 200 and 400,000 a year. I think it's 400,000 because you come out with like 1.2 at the end, if I can remember right. But nevertheless, let's listen to this real quick. This is how much Donald Trump made while in office. This is while in office, folks, not before. This is during his presidency.
All right, a new book is pulling back the curtain on just how much former President Trump enriched himself and his family while he was in office, finding that nearly $1.7 billion in revenue flowed through him and his organizations during his 4 years as commander-in-chief.
Now, I know y'all gonna say, well, Barack Obama's he's worth, when he went in, he was worth 1 point, now he's worth 70. That's because most of the time after presidents get out of office, they do speaking engagement. And Barack Obama had a pretty price for his speaking engagement. That's why he made so much money. But for him to, there's no evidence that Clinton, that Bush, I don't know about Bush, but that Obama, that most of the presidents don't make money while they're in office, like literally a business that they own. Trump is the first.
Chief. Joining us now, investigative reporter David Cay Johnston and author of The Big Cheat, How Donald Trump Fleeced America, Enriched Himself and His Family. David, thank you so much for being with us. A really fascinating look here as you weave together all of these different data points to paint, I think, the most complete picture that we've seen of this. Tell us how much Donald Trump profited and how you were able to get to this number.
Well, Donald Trump had to disclose his finances as president. All top federal officials do. Now, several of them filed very incomplete and misleading forms. Donald, in fact, asked through his lawyers if he could file his financial disclosures without signing under penalty of perjury. And he was told.
What? Did you hear that? Did you hear what he just said, right? Let's go back a little bit. I want y'all to hear that. He said Donald Trump didn't want to sign that his records that he was giving to the government were accurate under penalty of perjury. What kind of honest American does that off the rip? So before you even sign the papers, you dig what I'm saying?
Lawyers if he could file his financial disclosures without signing under penalty of perjury. And he was told, no, you have to sign under penalty of perjury. And of this more than $1.6 billion that flowed across the books of the Trump Organization and to Donald after expenses for those businesses, this is before expenses of those businesses, a lot of it came from the taxpayers. Donald did everything he could to make sure that the taxpayers were putting money into his businesses, hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, it's fascinating. The Secret Service, as you mentioned, was charged a regular rate during the pandemic at hotels that were largely unoccupied. And, you also talk about it just before the 2020 election and then on his.
Do you hear that he charged the government to stay in his hotels at regular rate, but there was nobody in these hotels, man. And I understand if you're in business, you're trying to make the most. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to make the most. That's the bottom line. You're trying to get them, but you're the president. You should be trying to make the most off of the people that you say that you're serving. You're not looking out for them. You're taking advantage of them.
On his way out the door with Stop the Steal fundraising, he rakes in $500 million. He spends less than $9 million on lawyers. The rest of that money he can use how?
Oh, he can spend it on himself. And I expect that once he is indicted in Manhattan and perhaps
What? Y'all hearing this, man?
other jurisdictions,
They
a
just
lot
sold
of that
video.
money will go to criminal defense lawyers.
Really, really fascinating. You know, one of the examples that you highlight in his Stop the Steal profiteering that really stands out, I know that's why he focused on it, has to do with someone named Stacy Blatt of Kansas City. And this is someone who, as you mentioned, was ripped off by Trump's unchecked the box swindle. So you said, well, in hospice care, Blatt heard Rush Limbaugh tell his radio audience that the Trump 2020 campaign needed money urgently. Blatt gave $500, half of his monthly income, via WinRed, a commercial enterprise that Trump used to process gifts. Over the next month, Trump campaign tapped Blatt's bank account 6 more times, taking the dying man's last $3,000. I mean, David, just put into perspective how unusual that fundraising practice is and if there's going to be any ramifications for it.
Well, essentially, they were stripping people of their assets as fast as they could because they were running out of money in the campaign. It ought to be treated as a criminal matter. I don't expect it to, just as I show in the book how Trump put our national security at risk with the efforts of his son-in-law to refinance 666 Fifth Avenue in New York. And we became in the bizarre position of the President of the United States attacking Qatar, where we have our most important military base in the Middle East, and aiding the Saudis.
This is the man y'all really want to run the country, MAGA folks? Please, I hope it's some MAGA folks in here. Let me know you still made it through. Hit MAGA if you're still here.
Who did end up ultimately helping the Kushner family. The profiteering that went on here, particularly by Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump, is just extraordinary. And any previous administration would have been dominant front page news day after day after day. And yet a lot of this was sort of lost in the background, Brianna.
Yeah, and you make it clear, look, this was not obviously to the benefit of the United States and its position in the world. It was to the benefit of the Trump family for sure.
I'm just trying to figure out this. I wonder if that's why Trump acts so crazy. So y'all don't really see what he's doing behind the scenes. He get outrageous and we focused on this stuff, but he's doing this little tactical stuff behind the scenes. I won't say he's not stupid. He's cunning and conniving for real. I can admit that he's cunning and conniving. But all right.
David K. Johnston, fascinating read. Thank you so much for being with
us. Here's Minnesota hours before Trump invites to speak tonight. This is crazy, yo. You can vote for him on November 5th. What is this gonna do for him? Let's keep on pushing along, but I think he feeds off of this, and y'all feed off of him. That's the crazy part about this, and it's just a whole lot of wasted energy. All right, let me get up out of here. We might have to do this in Sorry about that. Messed up the computer, but y'all have a good one. I'll see y'all in a minute. Peace. Again, videos get long. I had to shorten them up.